Again, please be on your best behavior for Miss Rowell today. Everyone may use a four-function calculator today. You're welcome to use one of my blue calculators in the back. I have 24, so when I return, I expect to find 24. There is enough to go around. I am going to leave smaller pauses in it today, so Miss Rowell, you're going to have to stop and pause it to let the kids catch up. Today, some of your notes will be out of your packet, but most of it you'll have to use a separate note sheet. I didn't really like all the problems that were in the book today. The essential question, how do you use different forms of rational numbers and strategically choose tools to solve the problems? Well, there are a lot of different tools that you could use. You could use a ruler, a protractor, a compass. A calculator is a tool, and I'm going to allow you to use those today. And you should be able to assess whether your answer is reasonable. Even when you understand how to solve a problem, you make or might make careless mistakes. And you should always check to see if your answer is reasonable. Like, there can't end up being 48 hours in a day. And it's not likely that a school teacher is going to make $1 million in a year. So you should check to see if your answer at least makes reasonable sense. When I get done looking at this first problem, I know that if the whole TV program is 30 minutes long, and I know that I'm going to divide it into 4 equal lengths after taking out commercials, there's no way that each equal length could be more than 30 minutes. It's got to be 30 divided by 4, at least that much. So we're going to read this question. We're going to talk about what would be reasonable and talk about ways that we might be able to solve it. So this one you're going to find in your notes. This is the only one that's there on the printed packet today. A 30-minute TV program consists of 3 commercials, 2.5 minutes. And it says strategically choose tools and also different forms of rational numbers. This particular rational number we could think of as 2.5, and certainly easier to use a 4-function calculator on. So, TV program consists of 3 commercials, each 2.5 minutes long, and 4 equal length entertainment segments. How long is each of the segments? And it's really, really important that we identify what they're actually asking. They're asking how long each of those entertainment segments are. So, I know that I have 3 commercials times 2.5. And you could actually take the time to put that in on your calculator. So we're going to take 3 times 2.5. And we can see that that is 7.5 minutes. If the whole program was 30 minutes long, I have to take the 7.5 minutes away from it to find out how much of it's already been used up by the commercials. So again, we're going to pull that back up, that calculator. And we're going to do 30 minus 7.5. And you will see that there was 22.5 minutes, or 22.5 minutes of actual entertainment. And they said we were going to divide it into what? 4 equal lengths. So we're going to take the 22.5 and we're going to divide that by 4. And again, you can pull up your calculator for that. So we're going to do 22.5 divided by 4. And you can see that each commercial is 5.625. Not each commercial, but each entertainment section was 5.625 minutes. If I wanted to check to see if that seemed reasonable, this is pretty close to 6. 6 times 4 is 24. It's certainly less than the 30 that I started out with, so my answer seems reasonable if I've taken out 7.5 minutes for commercials. Again, Ms. Rowell, you may have to pause it. Students may need a chance to catch up, but I'm going to go ahead and go on to the next slide. This one you're going to actually have to write down the problem. Again, Ms. Rowell, you're going to actually have to pause it so that they can write it down, and then pause it if they have questions as they go along. A family budgets half of its income for housing and 1/3 for food. What fraction of their budget do these expenses cover? Half for housing, 1/3 for food, and it wants to know the total fraction of what they cover. So I'm actually taking 1/2 plus 1/3. And remember that when I'm adding fractions together, and this one we're better off leaving them as fractions because 1/3 is 0.3 repeating, and there's no good way to do that on a calculator. In order to add 2 fractions together, they have to have a common denominator. And the lowest common denominator between 2 and 3 would be 6. Which means that I'm taking the 2 and I'm multiplying it by 3, which is going to make 3/6, the same as the 1/2. I'm taking 3, I'm multiplying it by 2, and it means the 1/3 is going to be the same as 2/6. I can keep my denominator and add my numerators together. So 5/6 of their total household budget is used up just for housing and for food. Again, you may need to pause this. Number 3, you're again going to have to write it down. This is the same type of problem. It does have an extra step. You'll notice it says, what fraction of the budget do these expenses cover? And it also says what fraction is left over. Decorations for the 7th grade dance take 1/6 of the student council's budget. Entertainment takes 3/8 of the budget. And it wants to know what the total of these expenses are. And again, if I'm looking at the 6 and the 8, the lowest common denominator between 6 and 8, or the smallest number that 6 and 8 will both go into, would be 24. So, if I convert the 1/6 to something that's over 24, I had to multiply the 6 by 4, which means I multiply the 1 by 4. So I now have 4 over 24 plus, and if I do the same thing with the 3/8, I want the denominator to be 24. I had to multiply 8 by 3, which means I'm multiplying 3 by 3 to get 9. Again, the denominator is going to stay the same. It's still 24. And I add my two numerators together. 13/24 answers the first part of this question. What fraction of the budget do these expenses cover? The second part says what fraction is left over for other activities. And it even gives you a hint. It says subtract the answer that I got from this first part from 1. So what I'm doing is I'm taking 1 and I'm subtracting 13/24. Remember, to do anything with a fraction, I have to have common denominators. 1 is the same as 24/24. We don't do subtraction. We do addition. We're going to add the opposite. And you'll notice my denominator is still 24. And I look at the numerators. Since they have different signs, I keep the sign of the larger absolute value, so it's going to be positive. And I take 24 and I subtract 13, which is going to give me 11. So the second answer is 11/24. Again, you may need to pause this. Your assignment is page 98 and 99. And if you're up to a challenge, you can work out number 2 on page 97 on a separate sheet of paper. You must show all your work, get all the answers correct. I'll give you 20 extra credit points. Again, remember, you must show all of your work. You got to have it on a separate sheet of paper so that I can collect it on Monday if you take this challenge on. Don't think I should have to say it. Please, best behavior.